And I just wanted to kind of just keep encouraging you guys. I'm trucking along. I'm doing pretty good with my weight loss fitness goals. So we'll do a little body comp video in just a little bit, but I wanted to share with you really quick just what I've been doing for eating wise. And I know this is a shout out to CJ from Pinterest. I had talked a little bit about how I was going to discuss medicine being food. So today that's what we're going to do. I really am very, very, very passionate about food. Food is essentially the molecules that make up who you are and what you are. So if you are eating Oreos, Ritz crackers, top ramen, if you're eating those kinds of things, that is what you are made out of. And unfortunately, I think a lot of millennials and people my age, kind of in that early 20s and even in the teens, they are looking for the quick grab and go snack. They're looking for something that is cheap and affordable. And I know what you're trying to do, you know, especially for those of us who are getting ready to move out, those of us who are in college, those of us who are like maybe on our own, but you know, things are still pretty tight. It's very, very important for you to realize you can't skimp on your eating. You can't skimp on the health. If you look at any kind of statistics about cancer or anything like that, it's just skyrocketing. And I feel like everywhere that I'm going, I'm meeting young people who are sick, have autoimmune problems. They're getting more food allergies. They're struggling with their weight, either being overweight or too thin. And people are having a hard time sleeping. They're having a hard time at work because of low energy. All these types of things, and a lot of it ties back to the food that you eat. So really quickly, I wanted to go over some things today. First of all, I would say mostly right now, paleo. A paleo diet is largely, they call it the caveman diet, because that goes, you know, I don't believe like in caveman thing, that's evolution, I don't believe in that, but it's essentially the primal diet, where you went out, you shot or killed your animal food, so you have your animal protein. You eat things that you picked or you harvested, berries, all those kinds of things. They leave out grain, and what is important to understand about grain is that a lot of people they're really hypersensitive to it. And what happened with the grain is it has changed. A lot of your foods you're going to find have changed over the years. I just saw, I think it was an article or something the other day. I will try to find it and pull it up for you guys later. If I can put it in the link below, I'll try. But it was talking about how the amount of nutrition that goes into your regular foods that you see at the supermarket, it's almost by half now. So if you're eating a strawberry today, like these little lovely guys, if you're eating one of those today, it's going to have about 50% less nutritional value than it did in the 50s or in the 40s or something like that, before the introduction of GMO foods. If you're not aware of GMO foods, I highly recommend that you go and do some research. GMO just stands for genetically modified organism, and sometimes people call these frankenfoods. What they have done is people in laboratories have gone in and spliced up the gene code of our foods that we eat, and they have inserted things that don't belong there. So they'll insert insect genes. There have been human genes inserted into some of these foods, which is really gross if you think about it. The meshing of different kinds of foods. So you might have some genes from tomato thing in a corn plant, and maybe that doesn't seem like a big deal, but what happens is your body looks at those molecules and goes, I don't know how to break this down. So it's because it's a foreign food substance that goes, red alert, we don't know how to break down this code. And so when we ingest those foods, our body doesn't know what to do with it and sees it as a toxin. So that's why people are developing more allergies to foods, because your body, if it's functioning properly, is going, no, don't feed me that. I don't know what that is. And so then it dumps into either, it either flushes through your stream and you're not getting anything, and then people get really skinny, or some people hold on to it, their body goes, oh my goodness, and it puts fat around that toxin so that it doesn't get into the bloodstream of the body. And then you're building up more and more fat cells because your body's going, oh my gosh, it's a toxin, put fat around it. Well, that's not what we want, right? We don't want to have fatty bodies. We want to have nice, smooth, lean muscle. But that doesn't happen if you're going to eat a bunch of GMO foods that you're getting allergic to. Some people seem to handle these foods and different allergies better than others, but it does eventually catch up with you. We have new diseases like Alzheimer's, dementia is getting worse. We have things like fibromyalgia. We have a lot of autoimmune problems or cancer later on. So maybe you think, I'm fine right now. Maybe I struggle with my weight a little bit or something, but I'm okay. It will eventually catch up with you. You can't eat toxic foods and then have it be something that is okay for you in the long run. You will eventually get sick, or your health will fail you in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, I wanted to discuss that really quick. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was using food as medicine, because I discussed this in another video and I wanted to follow up with it. Food is the building blocks of your body. And unfortunately, we live in a society today that we use food as a reward. It's largely a pleasure thing. We'll eat it if it tastes good, looks pretty, we're out with friends. So we do something where we self-sabotage when we're with other people. We might be like, oh, well, I'll be bad this one time with all my friends. If you're doing that on an ongoing basis, you're going to, go over your calorie limit all the time, over your sugar limit. You're going to eat foods that you wouldn't normally, because you're thinking, it's just, what the heck, I'm with my friends. So we do that, and the other thing that we do is everything has to be expedient. We want it to be really fast and easy. That's why, takeout food or fast food or whatever, that's so popular here, because we're always on the go. We want something that's really fast. And a lot of times we're lazy when it comes to food preparation. Food prep doesn't take that long. You watch a movie anyway on the weekends, right? You can, watch a movie on your laptop while you cook some food. It doesn't take that long. It's just people aren't educated about it. They don't know what to do, and they think, oh, it's not going to taste good, because if you're thinking, well, all I can have is celery and carrots and that's it, well, nobody's gonna switch over to eating healthy. You have to make things that are tasty but also healthy, and there's that balance. And for some of us, unfortunately, a lot of foods are just eliminated from our diet. You just can't eat it anymore, because if you eat it, you have a reaction. That's just the way it is. So you have to work with yourself and think of it as a challenge. If you have a lot of food sensitivities or food reactions, think of it as a challenge. Okay, I can't eat this, but what can I eat? What are the options that I do have, instead of going, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat this, because if you've ever done an elimination diet where you start wiping foods out from your diet to see what you react to, it can be very, very discouraging, because you think, oh, I feel great, but it means I can't have milk. Oh, I feel great, but that means I can't have chocolate. Oh, I feel great, but that means I can't have this or that. And so you have to start looking at the avenues of the foods that you can eat, okay? So that way you don't get discouraged, because I know it can be really discouraging when you first start out, and then you want to do nothing but self-sabotage, okay? The other thing, using food as medicine, is our guts are largely connected to our brain and the rest of our body functions. Because if you think about a car, when you put a certain type of fuel in, that car uses that fuel to get places to, to be able to function properly. If you put like truck fuel into your little Honda Civic, it's not going to run very well, So you want to be able to use the fuel that your body specifically needs. Everybody's different. Americans don't like that. We want everything to be, well, this is okay for all of you. This is what the medical field has said is okay. It was on the food pyramid, we can follow that guideline. Well, that's not the case, and it's time to start listening to your body instead of listening to a sheet of paper that doesn't know anything about you. When you start using food as medicine, you're going to find a lot of times you'll have food cravings, and these cravings can be caused by a number of things. Some of them are going to be psychological. Some people, they do use food for comfort. I mean, I've used food for comfort in the past. Food is probably the most over-abused substance. It can be a drug for us, because we, okay, for example, I am a chocoholic. And when I say that, I am literally a chocoholic, okay? I have to be very careful, because I am addicted to chocolate. I love chocolate. And chocolate has actually been shown to help people with depression and different things like that, because it does give you that endorphin lift. But I have to be careful, because like coffee and chocolate, those are I call them dirty foods, and they can cause you to have inflammation, and they can cause a lot of other problems. And then that causes inflammation in the brain, it causes inflammation in the stomach, in the whole body, and then you kind of have to calm everything down and start the process over. And then a lot of cravings are caused by, so your brain can be needing a substance, basically. Your brain can be needing a chemical or a hormone, something that's in your food, and that might be a reason that you're overeating the food. Or you might be addicted to a certain chemical in your food if you're eating a lot of chemical-y foods. If you're, for example, McDonald's, and I don't really know anybody right now in my circle of friends who eats McDonald's, I don't think. I feel like a lot of them have come away from that, but there's still things, there's still packaged foods, there's the Doritos and the Cheetos, and there's a lot of things that are in those foods that have additives that we become addicted to, that have a certain chemical compound, we are addicted to them. And then think about for a moment how hard it is to give up those foods, okay? You have a reaction that's like, I don't want to give up that food, you know, even though you know that it's harmful to you, okay? That's the same reaction that a drug addict has when you need to give up their drug. So you need to think about that, because you don't want your mind or your body to be addicted to something. You want to be able to make the choice. You want to be able to make a choice. You don't want a substance to have control over you. You want to be able to have control over all substances, and that is, you know, breaking free from addiction. The other thing that it can be caused is bad gut flora. If you all have bacteria in your little tum-tums, okay? You have bacteria in there. If you have an overgrowth of bad bacteria, let's say Candida, for example. Candida is a little bacteria that feeds off a lot of sugar. If you are, you know, you're in the kitchen or whatever, and you find yourself really craving sugar, and you just want more and more and more and more, and you can't tell your mind, like you can't tell yourself to stop, it could be that you have an overgrowth of bacteria, and that needs to be cleaned out. Once you do like an anti-parasite cleanse, or once you do a kind of a gut cleaning regime, you're going to find that your cravings, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't need that food. And I think a lot of times, especially in Christian circles, I'm going to call this out, people don't understand that there can be physical aspects behind a food craving, or same thing with a drug addiction. There's a physical, oftentimes there's a physical aspect behind it. It's not just that the person wants the taste in their mouth, or it's not just that the person wants the euphoric feeling. It's something else that's going on. That there might be a deficit in an area, or they might be addicted to, the bacteria in their stomach might be addicted to that thing. And lastly, you do not need to eat as much as people say that you do. You know, on the food pyramid list, now this is, you know, I am not a nutritionist, so I can't say these things indefinitely for everyone, but as a general rule, you don't need to be eating a huge, vast quantity of calories. What you need to do is, what I say for myself is, don't count your calories, make your calories count. Because you don't need to eat a ton, you do need to eat, but you need to be eating foods that are powerhouse foods, foods that are really going to help you. And I think a lot of times, and I'll find myself doing this, I go, okay, I ate a salad so I can eat this bad food, you know, or I ate this so I can eat this. And occasionally it's fine to have a treat, and you can find a lot of healthy foods that taste good. The thing is, Americans are like big quantity people, you know. Imagine like your giant fork and your giant knife, and you're just sitting at the table and you're like, yeah, and you fork it in your mouth, you know. And we find that if one thing is healthy, we're just going to eat that. You know, so if carrots are healthy, sure, I'll have a whole bag of carrots. But then you're not taking into account, well, the carrots are good for you to a certain extent, but there's a lot of sugar content in there. And you also need your greens, you need maybe some red foods, you need some other things. And there's other things like that some people can't have if you're allergic to it. For example, peppers, tomatoes, those things are healthy foods. Eggplant, that's all healthy, but some people can't have it. Like I can't have it, my mom and my sister, we react to those foods. They're called nightshades. Just for some odd reason, living in this world that we live in, our body has developed an allergy to it, and we just can't have it. So there are going to be healthy foods that you just can't have. And so you just got to kind of work with your body there. But instead of rewarding yourself with food, reward yourself with other things. I think sometimes when we are food focused, and we're food focused because our society focuses around, you know, we eat together, that's what we do, you know, when we socialize, we eat. When we're alone, we have fridges and we eat when we're bored. And then a lot of times, because of these habits, we develop, you know, the bad gut bacteria, and then just the cycle continues, because then our gut is addicted to it, and then we go and eat more, and then we socialize more, and then we say that everything's okay, because we say, you know, we look in the mirror or whatever, and we have this weird psychology stuff being thrown at us that, oh, you know, we're all beautiful. Well, we all have the potential to be beautiful, yes. But sometimes we have to address the issue that, you know, I'm overweight or I'm underweight and I want to deal with it. I'm not going to beat myself up for it. because that doesn't help anything. But I want to be a healthy way, and though it's not to be obsessed with yourself, it's be healthy so that you can be a magical person to somebody else. You know, there's those people that you really, really admire, that wow, they're beautiful, or they work out great, or you know, whatever, they have such a balance in their lives. You be that person. You can do it. It just takes a lot of effort and time, but that is what we were put on this planet to do. Find out our weaknesses and strengthen them. That is what you are here to do. Not to make excuses for your weaknesses. You will not be happy ever doing that. So I just wanted to really quickly show you some things that I was eating today. So this is, if you can see this is a salad made out of lettuce, red onions, which sometimes I don't react well to red onions because they have a lot of sugar in them, so we'll see, but I really was craving them today. So then cabbage, red and white, avocado, and ginger. And I also threw a little sage in there, but I would leave the sage out next time that I do this because I think it's competing with the ginger. And then I just threw in a little salt in there. It has it's a vegan meal. I am not vegan, but I am going away from animal protein for the next couple of weeks just because I want to kind of cleanse my body of animal fats and bad proteins, because I love protein a lot, and sometimes I overdo it with the protein because protein is so good. Everything that's good is protein, you know. We've got like eggs and chicken and salmon and pork and beef and all kinds of yummy things. So anyway, but I'm trying to come away from that just to do a little protein detox, because you don't want to be over on your protein. And then the avocados have a good healthy fat, so that's great. I also have some strawberries, if you're British. I really, really love fruit. I cannot have it very often, so it's kind of a once a week treat for me. So it's Saturday today, and for myself, like, you can kind of find your own limit, but I would say about 3 or 4 strawberries is probably good for me. And then I wanted to show you my little cheat, because you do have to cheat sometimes, but you want to find a healthy cheat. So I have, oh actually, let me see if I can find the bag. I don't know if oh, there it is. Aha. No, never mind. Where did I put it? Oh well. I'll have to show you the bag later. But this is Lily's dark chocolate chips. Oh, hang on. We have a bag over here. Ah. Okay. So these are Lily's chocolate chips, which they are vegan and sugar-free. They're non-GMO. These are the baking chips. I always put mine in a see-through bag like this, so that I can see how many I have eaten, because I really only take like maybe like a little, like a teaspoon or a tablespoon at a time. And I just tell myself, because what happens is if I don't let myself have some chocolate, I will eventually go to the store and buy a bar and eat the whole thing. So I tell myself, no, that's not okay. You can have a little taste of chocolate, you know, every day if you would like to. And what I tell myself is, see all of this, these are all fat calories that you're going to have to burn in your workouts. So is it worth it? And sometimes it is. But other times I look at it and I go, I'll skip the chocolate. So you have to treat yourself almost like a child when you're walking yourself through a new diet. It's like, okay, do you really want to have to burn all this off? You know, and then, no, I don't want to have to burn it all off, but I'll have a taste. And you have to let yourself have a taste, because if you know, unless you have severe allergies like my sister, she cannot have any of that kind of stuff. And I would be better. I am, for a month later on, I'm going to go completely chocolate free just to see how my body reacts, because I'm sure I'll feel great. But, you know, you have to decide what's worth it for you. Do you want to feel fantastic? Do you want to not have, you know, the joint problems or the back problems or the inflammation? You know, it all just depends on what your threshold is and how healthy you are to begin with. So anyway, that's my little encouragement for this week, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. I'm going to try to be a little bit more, I'm going to be more diligent about posting. I've slacked off, I'm sorry, it's not acceptable. So I am going to be posting every week on Saturdays, daily, and we'll be looking forward to other things that I'm going to throw at you throughout the week. So alrighty, have a great rest of your week, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.